Welcome to another highly questionable round of nonsense. What do you like best on the show today, Bomani?
We got a great interview with Ernie Johnson where he does a great impression of Shaquille O'Neal.
Dale, papi.
Should the NBA be okay with the Nets giving the Bulls a playoff spot?
What a crazy anarchy Adam Silver has on his hands when Brook Lopez needs rest 24 hours before the end of his season. Jeremy Lin needs rest. The last time the Nets played the Bulls, they beat the Bulls, but 6 guys, Trevor Booker, everybody's out, and Adam Silver can't do anything about it. They can't be okay with it, but they've got the added bonus of not being able to do anything about it whatsoever. They're going to need to change the rules on this if they want to fix it, and they're going to need to change the rules in a way that doesn't allow guys to fake injuries or pretend like they're hurt, so I don't see how they get around it.
Yeah, but this isn't the first time the NBA's wanted to come up with a way to stop guys from pretending like they're hurt. If they could have done that, they would have done that already. I would, however, like to put up a bit of resistance to the idea that the Nets are just giving a playoff spot up to the Bulls. If I pulled 10 dudes randomly out of the NBA and said, name the 5 of them who start for the Brooklyn Nets, how many of them would you be able to pull out? Like, I don't know how many guys they're not going to start. I couldn't tell you who was or was not a starter. Their whole roster is a game of he's still in the league. So really, are the Nets really swinging anything? They could bring Buck Williams out of mothballs and they'd still lose.
But the problem is that they've got a guy starting for them tonight that is going to be playing inside of a mascot's uniform. And you don't know if he's been playing for him all season.
Well, this is going to keep the Heat from the playoff spot. You know, I mean, this is fixed. It's a fix.
Except the Wizards aren't playing Beal and Wall in their game against the Heat, so Heat fans really can't get into a philosophical argument on this.
He is so frustrated. He's been wandering around here. Tonight for the Heat, it's win and go home.
It's a good sign that Matt Ryan has repeatedly watched the Falcons collapse in the Super Bowl.
I know many of you have done the same thing only so you can laugh at the Falcons, but Matt Ryan apparently is facing the hardship that came at the end of last year, and he told 680 The Fan on the radio that he has watched the game repeatedly, and maybe it's a good sign. I just don't know what it's going to accomplish. The only thing I feel like watching that game over and over again can do for him is make him hate Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, he took that 1 sack, but that was a failure of leadership much more than it was a failure of the guys on the field. I don't know what he's doing other than getting salty.
I have no explanation other than he's a masochist for why it is that you would do this. The problem last year for the Falcons in the Super Bowl was not one of motivation, was not Matt Ryan not being motivated enough. He hurts plenty. Why you would go back to the place of that suffering again and again and endure it again and again makes no sense whatsoever unless you're trying to harm yourself.
Well, if I were Matt Schaub, I'd go to my head coach and says, you see what Matt Ryan is doing? He's watching those films after the loss, but what you got to do is prevent those losses. I'm the guy who can do it for you.
Matt Schaub.
That's right. That's right, buddy. That's the way you sell your services to the head coach.
Matt Schaub is going to pick up that paycheck and say thank you.
How should Lakers fans feel about their 5-game winning streak?
Bummed and confused. They run the risk of falling out of the top 3 with picks, and if they fall out of the top 3, the Sixers end up getting that pick. The Lakers were trying to lose last night to New Orleans. They played Metta World Peace. I did not know that Metta World Peace was still in the league until they played him. They tried to lose, and they won anyway. I don't know what you're supposed to do about that.
Now, at this moment, the Lakers have less than a 50% chance of keeping their lottery pick, but you have to remember when we talk about these percentages and chances, we're talking about 1,000 ping pong balls and a three that are getting pulled out of here. You never know how this thing is going to go necessarily, but stop and appreciate the irony. On one hand, we're getting on these teams that are benching players because they're not taking the regular season serious enough. On the other hand, we're looking at the Lakers and saying, why are you taking these games so serious? While we're actually downplaying the scenario, because if they lose the 2017 pick, they will also lose their 2019 pick to Orlando from that Dwight Howard trade that really didn't do any good for anybody, except it might for Orlando if they get that 2019 pick.
I love the idea of Metta World Peace out there. I don't care. More shots for me. I'm putting the ball up.
What is the big deal? The NBA is going to rig the lottery so the Lakers will get the first pick anyhow. That's the way they roll, man.
I don't think the NBA will rig the lottery. Now, should they rig the lottery? Totally different discussion.
is Tubby Smith to blame for players fleeing Memphis?
All right, since the end of the season, 6 guys have said they are leaving Memphis. They don't want to play basketball there anymore. 2 of them are the Lawson brothers, whose father had parlayed himself a job as an assistant, and his boys didn't magically decide to go to school there. But then when Tubby Smith got the job from Josh Pastner, he demoted him, and now all of a sudden the kids are deciding to depart. Now, the fact that 6 guys are leaving, that certainly speaks to a problem. The fact that those 2 guys are leaving, well, that might speak to something else. Small thing, though. One of them averaged a double-double last year. It's kind of good.
You've got all of 2 players committed to Memphis right now, and generally when you've got this kind of chaos, that chaos falls on the head coach. Not only that, Memphis used to be really relevant. Memphis used to be really good. They haven't been very good. So you combine all of that, the guys leaving combined with the losing, and you've got a situation where the head coach is the only place you can put the blame. Loath as I am to do that because I've got a bias for anyone named Tubby.
Well, things have been worse for Tubby.
They have?
Oh, yeah, remember this?
Oh,
It was
yeah.
Midnight Madness at Texas Tech. And they were like, wow, what should we have the old black coach do that our fans might relate to? And they wrote him out there like Shaft.
I do feel like that entire video was a metaphor for everything that's happened to Tubby Smith at Memphis.
Coming up next on my son's TV show, Ernie Johnson Jr.
I'm talking about the Golden State highlights, and we go to Oakland for the Clippers and the Warriors, and Shaq on live TV says, "How come you keep saying Oakland?" I said, "What? How come you keep saying Oakland?" Because that's where the Warriors play. I didn't know that. And then,
Joining us at the beach today is Ernie Johnson Jr.
All right, his book, Unscripted, The Unpredictable Moments That Make Life Extraordinary, is in stores now. Let's talk to him.
Couple of funny stories on the radio. Joe Buck had to go to the bathroom in a garbage can during a game. Vin Scully mispronounced hot shot hit foul in a way that ended up cursing. What is your most embarrassing broadcasting moment?
I had a few when I was working in Spartanburg. I had to not only do, be a reporter, on during the day, but I had to anchor the morning news cut-ins, those little 5-minute deals while Good Morning America was on, and I had a few on there that were just abysmal, where you feel, you get tongue-tied for a second and you feel like everybody has stopped what they're doing at home and you say, look at this guy trying to read the news over here. I think that there were those, but the worst thing I think I did, there were 2 at WSB in Atlanta. Number 1, we used to have the Indy 500 as the ABC affiliate, and it used to be run on tape delay back then. We'd show it at night and not live during the day. And so on the 6 o'clock news, I just forgot about that. And I had been watching the race, and they hit they hit the news anchor. Here's coming up on Action News at 6, boom. And the weatherman says, and we have storms coming our way. And then they come to me and I said, and Rick Mears wins a thrilling Indy 500 when the race was coming on in about a half hour. And man, I got back to my desk and the phone never stopped ringing. And so that was one. And another that I regret was being so tied up getting ready for my weekend sportscast that I really wasn't aware of what was going on in the world at the time. And I was doing British Open highlights, and there was a shot of Greg Norman with this wispy stuff up to his waist, trying to hit this ball out of there. And I said, here he is doing his best, Marlon Perkins. And I finished my sportscast, and we go to break, and the news anchor looks at me and says, what are you doing? I said, what? He said, that British Open crack about Greg Norman and Marlon Perkins. I said, you can see the grass, it was this high. He said, we ran his obit in the second segment.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry about that. I guess I should have been paying attention. My bad.
Is it even possible to get embarrassed on Inside the NBA? Because you guys seem to, when something goes wrong, it just gets baked into what you're already doing.
No, you know what, Bo? When I grew up, I was a big Johnny Carson fan. From as long as I can remember, I loved watching The Tonight Show, loved watching the way he worked, and loved watching the way he played things off. And so even when something fell flat, a lot of times it was funnier than the stuff that worked. And we find that a lot on our show too. I mean, it's just, it's an unscripted show, and it's one of these things that, Charles is going to say something, Shaq will say something that nobody ever talked about in a production meeting. Those guys don't come to the production meeting. They're not invited to the production meeting. They don't want to be at the production meeting because we want to throw stuff at them and get their gut level, genuine reactions to it. So as a result, on a given night when I'm talking about the Golden State highlights, and we go to Oakland for the Clippers and the Warriors, and Shaq on live TV says, "How come you keep saying Oakland?" I said, "What? How come you keep saying Oakland?" "Because that's where the Warriors play." "I didn't know that." and meantime, the highlights are running back and forth, and Charles and Kenny and I are now all, "What do you mean?" I just thought we were in San Francisco. I just got on the bus." "You said you played in the league for 400 years and you didn't know you were in Oakland." "I didn't know that." And look, we had a night. When Mariano Rivera blew out his knee in BP in Kansas City a few years ago, and so on our show, we touch on everything. And so, like, we're coming out at halftime, and Chuck said, "Hey, before we do that, I want to send a shout out to Mariano Rivera. I know he blew out his knee tonight, and hope he comes back." And Kenny, being the New York guy, is like, "Yeah, I mean, Yankees, blah blah." And Shaq says, "I don't really know who you are, but get better fast." and we go to commercial. And it's like, "What do you mean? I told you guys all I do is watch videos. I don't know. I don't watch baseball." And 3 weeks later, he's in New York and he meets Mariano Rivera. They're at an event together, and so Shaq comes back to the studio and he says, "Hey, that pitcher you were talking about the other day? He said to say hey to you, Chuck." I can't remember his name. Rafael Nogueira. Rafael Nogueira. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't. Welcome to my world. You can't make it up.
What do you have for him, Papa? You got a good question for him?
Yes, certainly. How did you meet your wife, CHERYL?
Thank you for asking, by the way. I met her through 6 inches of bulletproof glass. She was the teller at the drive-in window where I cashed my meager WMAZ TV paychecks in Macon way back in 1979. And so, we met, and I got up the nerve to ask her out, and eventually we got married in 1982. But yeah, that's how we met, and we just kind of, it was an intriguing thing, and I had no idea what she looked like from the waist down, and she had no idea how tall I was as I sat in my Chevrolet Monza in the bucket seats.
So the marriage started with you giving her your money.
Oh, without question. And here's the deal. She admits that she did something that she should not do. She checked my balance.
Oh, no!
No, she did. So there was some interest on her part, guys, or she wouldn't have done this. But what was funny is that, she would cash these checks and she'd say, "What do you do at Channel 13? And I'm like, "Well, I anchor the news." And so she was unimpressed with my stature as the anchor at Channel 13, and then she explained to me. She said, "Look, I'm in school at Mercer University. I'm working 2 jobs. This is one of them. I'm trying to work my way through school. I don't have time to watch TV." And so, part of me was like, "Well, that's pretty cool. At least she's not like interested in me because I am the anchor at Channel 13 Action News or Eyewitness News at 6.
Wow.
Wow, you like that story.
I hope that satisfied you, Pop.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, really, he approves with a wow.
Story.
Good talking to you, Ernie. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Lame, and you know it now. When a real hold you down, you're supposed to drown. What you're doing in the club on a Thursday? She said she only here for her girl birthday. They ordered champagne, but still look thirsty. Rock forever 21, but just turned 30. So close your eyes and let the world paint 1,000 pictures. One good girl is worth 1,000 bound to falling in love. This broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that has no idea what to do with his hands right now.
Keep them where we can see them.
Yeah, just keep them up in the air.
Do your question.
You give us topics and events, and we question them.
Do you question if this is normal for a 3-year-old?
All right, this is Troy Tulowitzki's son that we're going to see here.
Oh, he's got it figured out. What a monster.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? That's not even old enough to play T-ball. You can't get into T-ball at 3 years old.
Why has he already got on the middle-aged man Scully, though? It looked like his hands should have calluses.
Have you seen how the Blue Jays have started their season? I feel like he could hit eighth for them. Are you bleeping kidding me? We gonna compare that to J.J. Redick's son? That we got J.J. Redick all mad at us because we showed footage of J.J. Redick's son? This is what it's supposed to look like.
Well, I know a kid that is better than that kid.
You do?
Yeah.
That is pretty impressive. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, he is better.
Do you question if Cuevo picked the right profession?
You like Cuevo. You like Migos.
Cuevo,
Dad is a
that's
big
right.
fan. Let's check in with Cuevo. Wasn't he a high school quarterback of some sort?
Put it in the back seat.
Left-handed. Oh.
Wow, he's acting like he expected to do that.
I mean, I don't think he did it by accident. I tell you this, though. I don't think he picked the wrong profession. Not that I'm going to ever be the one to pick on anybody from being skinny, but that right there is a rapper's physique. All right? Like, it's like when people talk about Allen Iverson. He could have been a great quarterback. He could have been a dead quarterback.
Time to play the game that will wait. It's no trade close if the right opportunity presents itself. See or no?
Tell us what's on television today. We'll tell you if we're intrigued.
On WLS Chicago, Dodgers and Cubs.
This sounds like some fun. Yeah, I'll watch this. But let's check in with John Lester and that issue that he has, the yips throwing to first base. Jock Peterson was testing him the other day because Lester's all short-circuited in the head when it comes to throwing over to first base.
Look at the kind of lead he's taking. Look at the form.
Track and field style.
He's in the
Yeah, John
blocks.
Lester's still scared to throw over
I
there.
like the approach, but now if you're going to do that, now go.
He should sit
You're in
down.
position to
He
take
should
off.
physically sit down right there
So
because John Lester will throw it into right field. Bomani, are you intrigued?
I'm not especially intrigued. However, I do feel like you should put that picture up of Jock Peterson one more time because I know for a fact that some of you out there did not think that that was young Jock.
Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued because, I'm going to be watching Yasiel Puig. Everybody wrote him off but me. I'm the only one that say he got something to prove. I'm telling you, he's on fire. 3 homer, 2 doubles, stealing bases, hitting the ball all over the place, making things happen for the Dodgers. He's the real deal, Yasiel Puig.
Ofer's last 8, by the way. Not
Why'd you have to go mess this up?
Not quite on fire.
You're that dedicated
it's
to
just
making your
Ofer's
father
last
look
8.
wrong.
Ofer's last 8.
In Cape Town, Super Rugby.
Oh, is that better than regular rugby? That's Super Rugby. What happens in Super Rugby?
Fitness test now. It's a bit off for the
Oh.
last quarter. That's a brilliant line from Donald. Good tackle there from Falion.
Oh, that's a steal right there.
And now Lates chases the kick on Colby.
Oh, that guy's much faster than everybody else.
Oh.
Oh, no luck. Brilliance.
Oh my word, that is incredible.
Also seemed unnecessary, but
Yeah.
Gee, we've seen some skill
Yeah,
from
I'm
both
going to
sides.
go ahead and go hyperbole there. Stormers and Chiefs. That wasn't so super. Bomani, are you intrigued?
do they call it deceptive speed in rugby too? Like, is everybody out there fooling people? Because I'm assuming you have to be fast to play the game, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
Tough.
just checking. I mean, I'm just a little curious. What happens when everybody is tricking you with their speed?
What about you, Poppy? Are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But listen, does anyone know who won that game? I had the Stormers giving 6.
Oh, really?
That's
Okay,
right.
Okay, so giving 6. How did that game end up? My father's betting all over.
I don't
the
even
place.
know how the score works
There are
in
things
rugby.
in your house happening right now that my father has wagers on.
On A&E, Billy the Exterminator.
An Exterminator reality series. What do we got here?
The gator does not want to come near the surface and my pole is not working. So I'm gonna have to take this guy on in his own territory. And my best chance of not losing a limb is to try to grab this guy by the tail. I think I might have him here. gator, and instantly he starts freaking out. He's not happy about being drug out of this water and wants to fight me every step of the way.
Oh, he's heavy. Oh, he's tough.
I get him up onto the ground, but I still have a lot of work to do to get him secured.
Whoa! Oh, there you are.
The gator is freaking out because look at you, man. Just look at you. Bomani, are you intrigued?
All I'm saying is, if you're going to try to wrestle with a gator, you need to bring more with you than a cameraman, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be an implement, but it needs to be somebody else. Like, if all you got is that scared lady over there, I feel like you're going about this the wrong way.
Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But Billy, he pick a small gator, buddy. You got to impress me. You got to go with the 6 against a 6 or an 8-foot gator.
Yeah, he's right.
Not the 4-foot
That's
gator.
right.
You know,
I mean, that's
anybody
amazing.
can do that with
Yeah,
a foot.
yeah,
That's right. Hey, Billy, you want to impress me? You got to take on a big gator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's
That's
see what
it.
you got here.
Yeah, what you and your cameraman got
That's
for
right.
that?
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. You want a reality show? I'll watch that reality
That's
show.
right.
Yeah, if you
Look
want to
at
take
that.
that thing out.
He's slow, too. He can move very fast.
By the way, shout out to these idiot voyeurs that are just over here just like, ooh, let's look at this big thing that could eat us all in one bite.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
We will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Gracias. See you mañana.
Don't the hockey players playoffs start tonight?
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, we were busy looking at we were busy looking at alligators.
Honestly, I had no idea until he said it. I'm not even going to pretend like, oh, I forgot.
Exterminators in this world come before hockey.